Hey friends, today I'm talking about the aha moment that I recently had reading the book Profit First. This book is something that I've honestly procrastinated reading. A lot of my fellow entrepreneur friends talked about it for a long time, but I pushed it off because I was like, I am profitable in my business. I am bringing in revenue every single month. I thought it was just for people that were in the red in their business and not bringing home a profit. I was like, I'm bringing home a profit. It's not for me. Well, I'm really glad that I did read it because even though I'm not applying every single principle that I learned in the book or that he talks about in the book to my business, there were some key things that were like, oh, this is brilliant. This is something that I can add to my business. Now, what I'm going to talk about today, I don't even know if it was intentional, the intentional lesson that he had for this particular topic, but what I gained from it is something that I'm starting to apply and something that I've been struggling with in my business, which is so awesome. When you're reading books, depending on where you are in life, you're going to pick up different things, which is why they say to reread books, because depending on the season of life, you may have a huge aha moment that you didn't even see when you read it the first time. So in the book Profit First, what he talks about is having different groups that you have in your revenue every single month. So you're taking your owner's pay, you're putting money into your profit account, you're putting money into your operating expenses, and you have all of your money categorized into these different categories. And he goes deeper into the book, so definitely recommend reading it. I'll have it linked for you guys down below. But what the aha moment that I had is he talks about having the automation of 35%. I think it's 35%. 35 is the number that I decided for my business, of 35% going into operating expenses. And most people in the book, when they read it, their operating expenses are actually too high. And he talks about cutting them and different things that you can do to cut operating expenses. My issue is actually the opposite. My issue is actually that my operating expenses are too low and I tend to be a one-man show. I don't hire. I've hired for virtual assistants in the past. They just haven't worked out. I've had good ones. I've had okay ones. And I've just been like, you know what? It's so hard to find virtual assistants that you really click with, and sometimes it takes a training period. It takes a period where you're learning how to work with each other. You're learning what each other, do, and the way you communicate, their writing style, different things like that. So I honestly am like, it would save me more time in the long run, but right now it's faster for me to just do it myself. So I haven't done it. Or the virtual assistants are way more expensive than I'm willing to spend, and I'm like, you would be amazing, but you're way outside my budget. So I haven't done it. I've been more of a one-man show, except for a couple hires here and there. So what he talks about is having your operating expenses in your budget. And if you guys watch my budget report cards on my tutorial channel, I'll have it linked down below. But every single month, I do a budget overview for my business. I talk about the income and then also the expenses, because it's so important to see both sides of it. So in my most recent report card, I have a box down at the bottom where it talks about owner's pay, operating expenses, profit, all of the different categories. So what I did is I said, okay, what is the owner's expenses? So that includes the memberships that I have, the ongoing expenses like for Canva Pro, for TubeBuddy, for my mail subscription, for my email marketing, the cost of different things like office supplies and postage and all the different random expenses, plus who I hire, plus the courses that I invest in, plus the books that I read. All of that goes into operating expenses. So I take what that amount is every single month, and then I have another line below it says owner's pay, or operating expenses 35% minus what I've spent. So that way I can see how much I have left to spend every single month that I'm not spending. And then I take that amount and I'm moving it to a separate account. And this is helping me do a couple things. This is helping me say, okay, Kelly, I'm forcing you to spend 35% of your total revenue in your business every single month. You're not allowed to take home that. You're only allowed to take home 65%. So this is a huge thing for me because it's cutting down on my revenue that I'm taking home to support my family. but it's forcing me to spend that money. And I'm choosing to spend that money by reinvesting in education and reinvesting in hiring people. And I've hired some people this past week even on working on blog posts and different things, of turning videos into blog posts and hiring those. And I've had a couple duds and a couple ones that aren't going to work out, but I'm really spending a lot of money right now to find good working virtual assistants. And that's huge for me. That's huge that I'm now saying, okay, I have the money in my budget that I have to spend it. So the way that I'm doing it is I'm giving myself, 35% to spend every single month. But then if it goes, I'm under budget, I'm putting it into an account so that I can also save. So if I'm like, hey, I want to spend $1,500 on this big copywriter for this big project, I have money there and I'm not just stingy and like, oh, I can't afford it. I'll hire the cheaper person that probably won't do as good of a job. And this is forcing me, like I said, to spend that money. So this is a huge aha moment for me, especially where I am in my business, where I have the revenue coming in and I need to prioritize reinvesting in my business, because that's how I'm going to scale. I'm not going to scale being a one-man show. I'm not going to scale and grow my business by doing it all myself and being stingy. I need to create a team around me that's going to help me so that I can focus on doing the things that they can't do. There's things in my business that I can hire out, and there's things in my business that I need to personally do, like filming. I can't pay someone to film for me. I can pay someone to edit. I can pay someone to script. I can pay someone to turn them into blog posts or whatever it is and do back-end work. But that way I can focus on the things that are going to create me more revenue and pour into my customers, pour into my clients, pour into you guys more than, since I have the hours to do that, versus focusing on those tasks that I can hire someone else to do. So I hope this was helpful. Like I said, I'll have Profit First linked for you down below in the description box.